So guys, today back for a video on the channel today. In this video we will be ranking all the Premier League stadiums from worst to best, and it's been a long time since you've seen my face on the channel. Last time you see my face was the preview for the Sheffield United game, and obviously since then we've had the Premier League getting postponed until the final day of April. We're on lockdown at the minute, and it's a horrible time in the world, so I want to try and bring in some content, and this is what the content's going to be for the next couple of months, you could say, until whenever the Premier League is back. And there will be the few videos out like normal, but I want to be making Premier League content and football content, and in this video we will be ranking all the Premier League stadiums. Make sure to leave a like, lads, subscribe to the channel, stay safe with the coronavirus, stay at home, and we will start off by looking at every single Premier League stadium and ranking them from worst to best. So we will be going in alphabetical order, and the first one is Arsenal. Arsenal Stadium has 60,000 capacity, which is large, but do the fans live up to that? Not in my opinion. The fans aren't loud enough. It's a nice stadium, and I've got it in 5th spot, not the 4th spot Arsenal normally would get, but 5th place for me. A very nice stadium, and Arsenal fans need to respect it more because I think it's a lovely stadium. So next up we've got Aston Villa at Villa Park. Capacity 42,682, and the atmosphere at that stadium is fantastic, and they've got some of the best fans in the league, and they've got a really nice stadium. It's a bit old fashioned outside the stadium, looking a bit like a train station, but it's nice and I do like it. For me, it's going in 9th spot. Next up is Bournemouth, and for me, 11,000 capacity stadium is not where you want to be in the Premier League. For me, it's rock bottom, and it might be a little bit harsh, but it must feel weird for my team, Newcastle United, playing in 52,000 one week to then go to 11,000 the next week. Don't get us wrong, I think Bournemouth are a good team in that, and they should be a Premier League team, but with that stadium, not a chance. Bottom 20th. Brighton next, and Brighton Stadium it's fairly nice. It's a lot more modern, you could say. Opening in 2011, and they hold 30,000 seats in their stadium. Brighton of Albion, I've got them in a respectable 14th place, a good safety position. Not absolutely rocking it at the top, but it's not one of the worst. It's nice and modern. It's nice, and I do rate the seagulls on the stadium, on the seats. It is nice. It's a very nice stadium, and definitely a Premier League one, 14th. Next up, it's Burnley, and oh my god, they've got wooden seats. It's 2020. Wooden seats. Like, the Bradford disaster happened because someone dropped a cigarette off a wooden seat. It went down the planks, set all the seats on fire. What if someone brought a cigarette in, right? The stewards didn't know, and then the away end's on fire. 19th spot for me. Next to the away fans, it's an okay atmosphere, you could say, but I understand that Burnley isn't a massive like city or town. I think it's 1 every 5 people in Burnley go to a Burnley match, which you have to respect, but they don't sell out the stadium, and you've got to go from the facts, and wooden seats just put it low for me. Burnley 19th. Next up, it's Chelsea. And Chelsea Stadium, it's nice and stuff inside. They've got leather seats in places of the stadium for like in normal places, like not just like Platinum Club for Newcastle United and stuff like that. It's a nice stadium. I've got them in 6th spot. It's not one of the best in the league, like at the very top, but it's a fairly nice stadium, and it can get an atmosphere going when it wants to. Always sells out, and yeah, a nice stadium from Chelsea. Crystal Palace next, and probably the best atmosphere you're going to get if you're in the home end. The atmosphere that Crystal Palace produce is absolutely fantastic. Only holding 25,000 as well. That's less than half the Newcastle United. And they have a really... It's not modern, but it's fairly nice. It's a bit different as well how the away end, I mean, the tunnel is not in the centre of the pitch, which I do like. And I've got Crystal Palace in a respectable 13th, a bit like Brighton, nice stadium, and good fans. Yeah, 13th place for Crystal Palace. Next up, it's Everton, and I'm sorry, right, if you go to a football match, you want to see the pitch, not a pool. You're in the away end, right, and you can't see the game because of a pool, right? This is in other stadiums as well, but I know Everton are going to improve their stadium, and fair play to them, but at the minute, just surviving. 17th spot for me for Everton. You cannot have pools like that in the stadium. You cannot be stopping someone's view at a football game. Simple, right? 17th spot for me for Everton. Leicester City is next now, and I'm not a fan of just the bowl stadiums. I'm really not. When, like for example, Tottenham Hotspur, it's not just level all the way around. That's what I don't like, how it's all level. That's what I don't like about the stadium. But it can get an atmosphere going. Obviously, Leicester are doing fantastic stuff this season. But the stadium, I'm a fan of the Leicester City in the seat, the King Power. Really nice grass, like the grass cuttings that the grass man does, or woman. It's bloody amazing. I've got them in 12th spot. Leicester fans, are you happy with that? 12 for me. If it was like a little bit higher on one stand, for me that would completely change my decision. But 6, no, not 6. What am I on about? 12th. We've got the champions of Europe and potential Premier League winners, Liverpool at Anfield. 54,000 seater stadium. For where Liverpool are in the league, in Europe, in the Champions League, obviously they got knocked out, but the champions of Europe at the minute, the atmosphere isn't absolutely fantastic. Walk alone as a neutral, say if you're watching from a different country, that'll give you goosebumps and show you what football's all about. But the atmosphere doesn't get going. Don't get us wrong, it's a nice stadium and stuff, but the levels, it's not just all level, which I like. Liverpool I have got in 4th place. Manchester City next, and you've got to admit, their stadium is beautiful. I know they don't create a good atmosphere. I know they don't sell out, considering they're a Champions League club. Premier League winners, back-to-back Premier League winners. Why is their stadium not getting full? Why? I've got Manchester City in 7th spot simply because of the atmosphere and how big the club is at the moment, and you can't sell out. Yeah, for me, 7th spot. Manchester United next, and I absolutely adore Old Trafford. I think it's an absolutely beautiful stadium. I really do. Yes, there's a lot of tourists that goes, which spoils the game, but it's always going to be in the game in this day and age. 74,000, and they pretty much sell out every game in the Premier League, so fair play to Manchester United for that. They can't get an atmosphere going at home, and I have got them in 3rd place. And now we've got the beloved Newcastle United. St James's Park, 52,405 seats in the stadium. Things that let the stadium down. Inside the stadium is horrible, right? The toilets have got mould on them and stuff like that. The Sports Direct signs. Apart from that, it's the best stadium in the league, right? A fantastic atmosphere when it can be, and for the reasons why I've brought up the negatives, I kind of put it in 1st place. I've put it in 2nd. I love St James's Park, one of the best in England, and for me, it's not 1st, and obviously I love going to St James's Park week in, week out, obviously not at the minute, but St James's Park 2nd for me. Norwich City next, and Norwich's stadium, I don't like, obviously Norwich are green and yellow army, but I just didn't like the green and yellow. I wouldn't want to sit in a yellow seat. I really wouldn't. A yellow seat. Or green. You can pick a green or yellow. I'm not a fan of the colours, but yet again, that is Norwich City. If that stadium was red, blue, obviously it's not the colours of Norwich, but I've got them in 16th spot. The atmosphere I can't get going, but it's quite low at the minute for where they are in the league and what they've done this season. So 16th spot for me for Carrow Road with Norwich City. Sheffield United next, and I really rate Bramall Lane. 32,000, one of the oldest grounds. I think it is the oldest ground in football still at the minute. It's a nice modern. It's an old ground that's looked modern, which I do like. The atmosphere is great at Bramall Lane, and I've got to give it in a respectable 8th spot. Being in the Championship in League One, when we were in the Championship in 2017, these lads were in League One, and now they're going on a European tour, if the Premier League carries on or whatnot. But a fantastic stadium in my opinion, and a very underrated one in my opinion. The most underrated stadium in the Premier League is Bramall Lane in my opinion. 8th spot for me. Next up we've got Southampton, and this is literally the King Power but red, right? It literally is. Apart from the away end, no, the away end is in the same spot. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan really. Like I said, these round stadiums. I rate the King Power more because I prefer the blue rather than the red. Fuck Sunderland. But Southampton, I've got them in 15th spot, St Mary's Stadium. Yeah, it's too far away for us mags, but we still beat you with Alan St Maximin. Yeah, 15th spot, reasonable you could say. Now we've got the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Where else can it go? Haven't named my number 1 yet, and it has to be number 1. You can get a pint by placing it down on something, man. What other stadium in the Premier League does that? Inside it's beautiful, like the stuff on the top, the largest stand in Premier League football. I'm not quite sure if that's European football as well. 62,000, and that stadium, it's produced some fantastic games as well at there as well, and that Joe Linton goal. But Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, it's first place. Opened last year, and since then it's been the best stadium in the league. Next up it's Watford. I like the ground, I really do. Watford Stadium, I am a fan of the writing on the seats with Watford and WFC. Nice stadium, I've got it in 11th spot. Can get an atmosphere going, shown from that 3-0 win against Liverpool. Yeah, Watford, nice stadium, 11th spot. Next up it is West Ham United of the London Stadium. And if I was a West Ham fan, I would be truly gutted if I've went from the bowling ground, your home for many years, since you've started West Ham Football Club, to move to this shithole, right? In the away end, you cannot create atmosphere because it's 2 sections, right? And it's so far away from the pitch, and it's not made for football in my opinion. Don't get us wrong, in the Olympics it looks fantastic. For football, I'm not a fan. It's in the relegation zone, 18th spot for me for West Ham United in the London Stadium. West Ham fans, if you're watching this, do you agree with me? For me, you cannot, like from the bowling ground I've really liked, old fashioned, very nice in my opinion. Don't get us wrong, it looks nice and stuff, but it's not a football stadium. It really isn't. West Ham United in the relegation zone, 18th spot. And finally, Wolverhampton Wanderers of the Molineux Stadium. 31,000 fans, a really good atmosphere in the overall of the stadium. One thing I don't like though is how low the away fans are in that section, because you've got home fans above you, and then if you're on the away end you can literally see the home fans above you. I think that's a bit weird in my opinion, but I've got them in a 10th spot simply because I think the atmosphere is great. I just think it looks a bit weird. It does, but they are planning to change it so it's a lot more modern all round, which I don't really like, but I think for the sake of the stadium, they've got like holes in the side of the stadium. Yeah, 10th spot for Wolverhampton Wanderers. So lads, that's the end of the video. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new. If you're enjoying this Premier League content video, make sure to let me know what other ones you want me to do. I've got a couple ideas of ones I could do. But this is the stadium, lads. Do you agree with me? What do you disagree with what I've said? I'll see us all in the next video, and it will be another Premier League content. And actually, no, it will not be. I'm streaming tomorrow for FUT birthday, so make sure to watch that when it's out. See you all in the next one, lads.